All right. What's up, y'all? It is Tap In Thursday. We have a special guest today. To one, oh my gosh. The America's Massacre, the one and only. Like, I don't even know how to introduce you for real. You introduce yourself.
I mean, it ain't really that much to it. My name is Tawan Butler. Um, the streets call me Mass. I wrote a couple of books, America's Massacre, and so I'm perceived as though I'm that thing. However, America's Massacre speaks for a lot more. Opposed to my story, it speaks for the story with respects to urban society in the bottom half of America, right? The poverty that we deal with, the broken homes that we deal with, the mental health struggles that we deal with, the financial struggles that we deal with. And so, so that people get a clear understanding that America's Massacre is a lot more than just myself personally. It's a story about all of us.
Right.
So, hopefully the people, they'll grab a hold of my book or they get a full understanding and they can see the correlation between myself and their self, and we could find a better way to get about the circumstances in which we're in.
Right. I first want to welcome you home. For those that don't know, you were sentenced to 30 years, right? In the
Yes,
fact. But you
yes.
served how much?
23 years.
23. When did you come home? November, September
I came home September 3rd, 2025.
2025?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. So how does it feel? Like what was the first thing that really when you stepped out of that being in jail, incarcerated that long, coming
I
home
mean,
to this world now?
when I got out there, when they released, of course, leading up into that situation in which I was released, I had faced the situation prior to, back in like 2005. I had went to trial, and I beat the trial. And when I beat the trial, the judge is like, you're free to go. And in that particular moment, the prosecutor stood up and was like, yo, we have a federal detainer, we can't release him. So what
Right.
I know what it's like to be that close to freedom and then get snatched back in. So
Right.
leading,
Well,
you see, so leading up into my release this time, um, I was a little bit nervous, right? Because it's like, okay, cool, I could get that close to the door, and then they could trap me off again. And so
right.
when they finally opened the doors and the gates opened, and my family was there, it was just a beautiful thing for me. Like it was something refreshing for myself, to be able to get back in tune with my people. And I felt like it was more of a blessing to be able to give myself back to my people, right?
Right.
So it was something that was beyond measure and something that's kind of like really unexplainable, you know.
Right. So what does freedom look like to you? Like what does it feel like? What is it like? What does it mean to you right now? Being that you are halfway free, as we say, you are on what ankle monitor. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
so is
yeah.
that considered your freedom, or like do you still feel locked up a little? Cause I mean, either way
Well,
it go, you beat the odds. You home, you outside.
yeah. According to how the streets tell it, I'm really not outside, right? Because the streets, when they outside, right? So I have yet to really be outside. However,
Okay,
I think that according to my reality, I know more so what it's like to not have freedom than what it is to have freedom, right? And the reason why I say that is because prior to myself going to prison, I was in the streets, I was gang banging, I was hustling, and even though my life was a party, I gotta watch over my shoulder for oppositions, the police, and so you have so many limitations of where you can go, how you can do this, how you can operate. And so then when you go to jail, it's the same thing, right? You got COs looking over you. So you have so much limited freedom. So that was majority of my life. So now that I've come home at the age of 46, it's a situation where it's like, damn, I'm not breaking law no more. I'm not looking to really be outside, right?
right, right,
Mm, but yet and still I have a certain degree of restriction on me that I didn't have prior. So, but to answer your question,
right.
to have freedom, you know, um, it's a blessing, right? It's a beautiful thing. I get to wake up in the morning. I can grab my phone if I want to. I can hug and kiss my mother if I want to. I could fraternize with my kids. I could fraternize with my family members. My peers. So opposed to 15-minute phone calls or my family
Right.
members or friends coming to visit me and the CEOs turning them around, or you could sit this close but you can't touch. So even though I'm restricted as far as the bracelet, what I can do, where I can go, and how I can do it, I still feel like I'm a lot more blessed because I understand what the people that's still inside are going through.
Yeah, I feel that because I feel like people that have not been incarcerated, they will never know the struggle of not having that type of freedom for that type of a day is too long, an hour is too
Mhm.
long being locked up. But to be behind the walls and you can't pick up that phone and call or
Yeah.
move how you want to move or get where you. I felt that, and I'm a female, and I've been locked
Mhm.
up 2012 to now like 7 times maybe. You know what I'm saying? But the longest time was this last
Mhm.
time. And I
Yes.
felt like them 14 months killed me, bro. I was in there like, oh, I ain't never going back to jail. I didn't have nobody. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So that's what was life like for me wasn't I would never want someone to go through that. So I feel for the people that are behind bars and incarcerated for real, for
As
real.
you should.
As I should, right? So what was life before going in for 23? Was that your
Man,
first sentence, or and when
um,
did you go to jail? Because you're 46 and you did. So when did you go to prison?
yeah, it's funny you say that because actually, they just narrowed it all down. Life for me before I went to prison was it was a party, right? I was somebody who was deemed as somebody, right?
Right,
So, I kind of had life my way, right? Whatever I wanted to do, I did,
right,
right? And so I kind of felt like the world was my oyster. I didn't really have no restrictions, no limitations. If I wanted to travel, I can travel. Though I
right.
didn't travel, but my
Okay.
because my mind was so clouded and it was so like my vision was so minimized, right?
Yeah,
So
you was
where
like this, like
yeah,
just
my entire world was my neighborhood, right? But when I stepped out into my neighborhood, it was like this is everything because when I come outside, it's like, okay, that's mad. So let's, we going to tap in with bro, or we going. So it's like I didn't really need or want anything else but that, right?
because you had
Financially,
that. You
I
thought,
had that, right. I had my community. Financial stability was nothing because, of course,
yeah,
I was living illegally. Um, you know, to come home today, you know, um, life is just like it's the same, it's not different because I feel like the life that you live is based off of a mentality,
hmm
right? Like,
yes. How you
as
think
a
it's
man thinketh, so shall he be,
how
right?
be
That's what they tell you. So
right.
if you think you a boss, you can become a boss, right? If
Oh,
if you
definitely,
think if you think as someone that's small, then you will only be small. And so,
exactly.
as a result of that, that's what it is for me. Like today, it's the same situation. It's just I'm not doing it illegally. I'm doing it legally. But I
Right.
did come to jail on my 23rd birthday. Right, I was 22 years old on my 23rd birthday. Actually, a week prior to my arrest, I found out the police was looking for me. Um, and me being naive, the world thought I had it figured out, but I was still a little bit naive. And I called
You're
my
gonna
guy, and I'm like, man, listen, I heard they're looking for me. I need to go. And he like, yo, come. He like, you know what I mean? He like, yo, come down, come down. And I'm like,
right.
listen, I'll be there. Let me just get my
Handle
birthday
this real quick.
party and
Right.
grab what I gotta grab out of the streets, and then I could just kind of like do away with everything. And
Right.
my first instinct was the best instinct, but I dismissed that. And
To go
so I
turn yourself.
and so I stuck around until my birthday. And that night, 12 o'clock hit. It's a party. Everybody's outside. We having fun. We drinking. We doing what we doing. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just go right here to this spot right here. And we got to that location maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and 5 o'clock in the morning they was kicking my door and they was locking me up. And I hadn't seen
Somebody.
the streets
Somebody
again,
called and said they seen mass. Look.
I mean, I could, we could point a bunch of fingers, you see what I'm saying? But I don't want to do that and make it seem like that's really what I'm on right now, because it really was my fault, right? Because I knew better, I should have did better. But again, I came to jail on my 23rd birthday, and I came home on September 3rd. My birthday is October the 1st, so I came home actually about 20 something days before
Your
my 46th birthday.
46th birthday. So you did 20. Yeah. Damn. So
3 years.
how did you get into that lifestyle? Like what before the 23 at 23
Mhm.
back? Like what was your upbringing? Not, October 1st, boom, you born, you got in the streets when? When did you jump off the porch? What made you be in the streets? Like, and then you were the leader, right? Of, am I saying double say it,
Alle-
double,
Allegedly.
allegedly, look, allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
This allegedly the leader of a double, what is double two said?
Double I.
Double I thought that, but I
It's okay. It's okay.
thought the Roman numeral.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was a blonde moment. So double I said, I ain't never
Yes.
even heard of that.
It's okay. It's all right.
But this is
But
real. Oh no, but
yeah,
this is real.
yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, it's a real life thing. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. Um, I was raised for a large part of my life in East Orange. My father was from a well-known projects in East Orange called Little City. Um, and so when I came home, I was brought directly to Little City. Then we moved to a block called Carnegie, which was in East Orange, which niggas used to hang out and hustle. And so, at the age of 7, 8, 9, I'm out. I'm not outside, but I'm on the porch, right? But I
Yeah.
get to see
I'm seeing
what's going on, with the older guys. Let alone, my father was somebody that was well respected, what I mean, in the projects and in the city. And so at an early age, I knew what it was like to be somebody, right?
mm-hmm. You
So it
somebody.
influenced and encouraged me to want to be somebody. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I took to sports, which was a big thing for us back in my day, right? Like the
Right.
80s, the 90s. We know we didn't have social media, we didn't have these things. So we utilized sports as a way to capitalize on
Yeah.
the energy that we had,
Right, right,
right?
right. Right.
So I started to play sports. I was pretty good in sports. I played football. Basketball really wasn't my thing, but I played that. I was pretty good. In the neighborhood in which I started playing sports in, um, I started to meet certain individuals, right? We was teammates and we got cool or whatever. And it got to a point to where as though I was so good, I felt like I didn't have to practice, right? So now, opposed to going to practice, me and my peers, we going to the team blocks and we're smoking and we're doing this and we doing what a lot of young, you know, young
We
people
was
don't
doing back
do.
then.
Exactly. And so, that was kind of like the second stage of my downfall, right, or
Right.
my demise.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
because I'm supposed to be doing something positive, but opposed to doing that, I'm leaning to something negative, right?
Right.
Um,
So do
so
you feel
it
like
got
it was a choice or were you being pulled? That was
um,
a choice. That was a
I
choice, right?
one thing I feel like is this, right? Despite what we feel about our circumstances, right, and how America has put this web over us, or it has a glass ceiling. I think a lot of us fail opposed to succeeding as a result of us dismissing the fact that we do have a choice,
Right.
right? Because our
Yeah.
circumstances can be terrible, right? Our environments can be terrible. The
Mhm.
community, our financial situation, they can be terrible. But
Right.
we do have a choice with respects to what we decide. It
To
might
do
not
that.
be
Yeah.
easy, right? The path might not be I'm not saying it'll be easy,
Right.
but we do have a choice. That's one thing, no matter what religion, whether you deal with a religion or you atheist or whatever, um that you have to come to terms with, right? Whatever God it is that you see, you understand that for one, he, birthed us to one worship him, and then
Right.
after that, right, he
Hmm.
provided us with the ability to have free will, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
he wants you to be able to make error, right? Be flawed, and then
Right.
still make your way back to him. And so
Mm-hmm.
as a result of that, he's always given us the choice of free will. It's just that
Right.
influence is powerful, and as a result of influence being powerful, we get wrapped up
That'll
into
pull
that
you in.
and shake up out of
Yeah.
it. So we become, a delusion, or misguided, or we psych
Or
ourselves out.
product of our environment
Exactly. So it's no other way but this, right? We trick ourselves
because it's
into
all
believing.
around.
But when you look at the streets and how hard and how difficult it is to become somebody in the streets, right? We'll
Yeah.
still go that path. But we dismiss how hard and difficult it is to go to school, go to college, get an education, and then succeed. But we dismiss that because that's not in our face every day.
Right.
This is
Right.
what's more so being put in front of us. And so we
Then
grab
it's
hold of what we
easy.
know, right? And,
Right.
and, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's just how life pans out to be.
Yeah. So I mean, that's copping out, really. I mean, not saying that you copped out or we
I
copped
mean,
out,
to a
but we
degree, I
really
mean,
did.
yeah,
We
to a
really did.
degree, that we because we psych ourselves out, right? We
We
give
didn't
people
go that
power,
way. We went that way.
because we give people power over us that don't really deserve it. You see what I'm saying? And
Influence our
then
mind.
because we won't blame the person next to us, right? Because that's
Yeah.
being categorized as being a certain thing. But then
Right.
we'll blame this part of the world and say it's their fault, as if
Right.
it's not the same thing as if we blame these people. The blame game is the blame game, right?
Right.
So I
We
don't
didn't
blame
blame ourselves.
nobody for my reality and my circumstances, because I
Right.
had a choice. I chose what I chose. My reality was my reality. My consequence was my consequence. And now I'm back to tell the story.
Okay. So when did it all become real, like to you, after going through, I know you went through a lot with that gang stuff, allegedly in the game.
Mhm.
Were you in, okay.
I was,
Allegedly.
I mean, that's not, I mean, we can allege some things, but I am who I am. You know what I mean? I don't deny that. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that the game in and of itself is a wrong thing. I believe that the way in which people utilize and people, fit themselves into what's going on is what makes it a bad thing. Because the
Right.
game culture brings about solidarity,
Right.
unity, brotherhood, camaraderie, people from all over the world. Like being in the feds, you know, I come in, I'm from Jersey, I'm young. I bump into another guy. He's from Oklahoma. He's a blood. I bump into
Right.
another guy. He's from California. He's a blood. This guy, he's a blood. He's from North Carolina. And even though culturally we have so many differences because we grew
Right.
up different, but
Right.
the banner in and of itself brought us together. You understand
Okay.
what I'm saying? So it's certain beauties that come attached to the culture, but how you
Right.
choose to utilize the things and how you choose to wear your flag is what
Right.
makes it either good or makes it bad.
Right. So how did you wear your flag?
I mean, I felt like I was doing the right thing at all times, but I just utilized the means that was in front of me, and I'm being sincere, right? Anybody that knows me, right?
Oh, I heard you. You didn't.
I was born in '79, so I'm an '80s baby, right?
Okay.
So the height of my thing was the '90s, right?
Mhm.
Early
Right.
2000s, I went to prison, but I was always there for my people. You see what I'm saying? Always tried to feed families and communities. Excuse me, families within my community. And I try to provide a better way. However, you know,
Things came in the
we
back.
are we are educated to um a mentality where it's us against the system, right? And so whatever means are at my disposal is what I'm going to use. So
I feel that.
if I go to school, right, and y'all kick me out, right, I can't utilize that avenue, right? If
Mm-mm.
I go and apply for a job and I'm a convicted felon, I can't
I can't
utilize
get
that avenue, right? But if my man over here got a 50 pack and I can grab that, I don't have to fill out no background check for that, right? I can grab that
You're
seriously,
right
right?
now. You
I,
said
I
no,
can
no go.
I can grab that, make a means for myself, and then this is my brother, pass it along to him, pass it along to him, and then we all
No,
could
we
become
all
a
eat.
team, right?
Exactly.
So
Right.
this is
That's the
why,
easy way. And that's the
and
reality of it.
and that's the thing. See, it's the easy way, but it's the reality, right?
That's
And
what
so
I'm saying. Yeah.
and I spoke to the mayor of my city a few months ago, and we didn't get too in depth, but the thing is more so based around, you can't tell a people or ask the people to do a thing without providing them another avenue, because they're only going to stick to what they know in
Exactly. And what's
society.
around them?
That's it. So you can tear down all the projects in the community, right, and put up new row houses, new mobile homes, but the community is the community, because
Still the
the
community.
same schools exist, the same teachers is there that don't want to deal with the knuckleheads. So you know what I'm gonna do for you? I'm gonna just go ahead and give you a C and pass you through the ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th
You don't
grade,
even know if
and
you
now you have a high school diploma and you ain't never even been there.
right.
So these are the things that plague our community. You understand what I'm saying?
Our
Um,
color.
exactly. Um, so it was just a fight thing for us and what we had to do. So I pushed a certain agenda at a certain point in time, and I'm not ashamed of it. So I'm
Right,
saying
right,
I
right.
understood what we was going through, and again, I utilized what was at my disposal. Now that I'm older,
Right.
right, I see and understand that there are more things at my disposal. They're just a little bit harder to get to. So
Yeah. And
now
you
I
have
got
to
to
do
scratch and claw through this,
yeah.
dig through this, pull over that. But I
Yeah.
eventually I make it there and then make a way for myself and my people.
Yeah. Without so much looking over your shoulder and having to do all that. But can
So,
you say honestly what you went through? Not that you had to go through it, but in that you went through it on the back end of it, this was something that you gratefully, rightfully had to go through. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that went through what you went through and ain't on this side of it. So do you understand what I'm saying?
um, I feel like you got to go through something to get to something, right? Where we from, right? We often use the term battle tested, right? And so I feel
Okay.
like you got to go through something to get to something. Now, the most important thing with respects to everything is that how do you come out of what you go through?
Right.
Because you have people that go through similar situations, people who have done 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and they come out, but they haven't utilized the time to come
They
outside with a
lying.
better self, right?
There you
So,
go.
I appreciate the time that I did, because had I not done the time, what we doing right now wouldn't be happening. One,
Yeah.
because I didn't do cameras, I didn't do this. I was so heavily entrenched in the streets, I could be dead, right? Or I could have had a life sentence. So for me, it's like, damn, you took 30 years. 30 years was a blessing. When I first went to court federally, um, in
What's
the
the
process,
difference? Wait, what's the difference between fed time to see we're on something? What's the difference between your time? Because you didn't do your time in a prison, a state prison. You did it in feds,
yeah.
right?
My first 5 years, I was in the state, right?
Okay.
But they had me in solitary confinement because I was a high profile inmate. So I did my first 5 years in the state in solitary confinement, and then I was transferred over to the federal system at the time in which I was able to enter general population. I did from 2007 to 2010 in population. They put me in lockdown for 2 years. I came back out. I went back to solitary confinement in 2013. I came back out in 15, and then I managed my bid to stay in general population until I was released. But the difference is, it's not so much of a difference. The difference is that, if you in the state, right? So for instance, myself, if I'm in the state, I'm from Jersey. I'm in the I'm in the Jersey prison, right? So
Right.
if majority of Jersey knows me, right? Majority of Jersey knows me. So I have
Okay.
less to prove, less to defend, less to honor because I'm right here. Everybody knows me, and it is what it
Oh,
is.
got you. Your time will be easy.
But when you go to the federal system, you're surrounded around people from all over the world. So you could be a highly ethical individual, right? Um,
Yeah.
Yet you end up in a prison that's in California or Oklahoma or Mississippi. And even though it's in those states, that doesn't mean that they're the dominated population, but you're
Oh,
surrounded around people from all over the world. So
right.
with respects to the culture, now you have to quote unquote reinvent yourself all over again. The things
Right.
that you did in New Jersey that
They don't
people from New
flower.
Jersey, it don't matter over here.
You don't give a damn about that.
Because it's like, what does that mean to me, right?
Nigga, who
So,
are you?
so, so, so it becomes that thing, right? Um, just
Right.
as far as like a
He said,
prisoner
now
to
you gotta
prison,
reinvent yourself. I like that.
you do, right?
Yeah.
So that's the inside aspect of what the differences is, right? As
Right.
far as like on a corporate level, what the difference is not so much of a difference opposed to the transportation process. Like, you can be, like I said, you can be in one state here today, you could be in another state tomorrow, another
Oh,
state the day
really?
after that. Yeah, I've been to multiple penitentiaries. I've been to Big
Because you're
Sandy.
such a high profile inmate, they were transporting you a lot, right?
Exactly, but it but,
Okay.
no, but it happens to other individuals as well, right? I don't want to
Okay.
make
Okay.
myself seem special according to the street culture.
No, no,
Um,
but I'm saying you were a high profile inmate. So I
Absolutely.
mean,
And according to what their records was, that's who I was. For me, myself personally, I was just me. Um,
yeah.
but
You know they gonna treat you like that.
I've been to over 10 different prisons in the span
That's
of
sad.
my bed.
That's so
And every different prison was in a different
different rules.
state. I actually revisited Pennsylvania twice, right? So I went to Pennsylvania, then went back to Pennsylvania. That was actually the lockdown spot that I was into. I did 2 years and then 2 years. Um, but everything other than that, Kentucky, Louisiana, Texas, West Virginia, New York, Maryland, Oklahoma. So but that's just how the system goes according to the feds. In New Jersey, or not New Jersey, but the state, your state is your state, and where you at is where you gonna be. So that's the
Right.
difference, to just kind of narrow it down.
When it was the moment that you realized this is my life now, like damn, like when the charges hit, like damn, nigga took 30, like
Nah,
whoa, shit, like wow, yeah, wow, like
the day I got
what was the
arrested.
feeling? Can you give me that?
Um, well, okay, so in 2000, right, and understand me when I say this, right? I don't speak about my story from a braggadocious perspective, right? I'm just telling my
I
story.
don't feel like that.
Um,
Right.
in
Ain't nobody tell it like you
2000,
tell it.
in 2000, I was arrested for a homicide, right? I was fortunate enough to make bail. I made bail. And in 2002, when I came back to prison, I was arrested for a double homicide. So at the point in which they came,
Allegedly.
yeah, absolutely. I'm saying I was arrested for this, right? I'm not saying that I did these things. I'm saying I was arrested for this, right? Because this is the truth. And this is the reality. Um, and so when they came to get me in 2002, um, they come in, they kicked the door in. Um, I was actually staying somewhere else, but I called myself being slick, and I went to my mother's crib. So it was my mother, myself,
Mm.
the female that I was with at the time, and my brother. We all in the living room. They got us handcuffed, and I'm like, listen, there's no reason to get excited, get upset. I'm never coming home. So the time in which they put the handcuffs on me, I had already prepared myself for
Never come out.
what was to come, right?
Right.
So it's a thing called the 5 P's, right? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And so I was properly
Right.
prepared for
I have heard
whatever was
that.
to come, right? For whatever was to come, I was prepared for it. I didn't want it to happen that way, but I was prepared for it. And so when they put the cuffs on, I felt like I was never coming home. So at that point, right, I was accepting of whatever my reality was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? It didn't mean that I
The
wasn't gonna
first, the
fight.
second, first and the
You know,
second.
so it's just like, so when I went to trial, for the double homicide and I won, you know, and they charged me federally, because that's when I got charged federally. Um, it was like, okay, cool, I'm welcoming whatever it is, because I had already, deemed this my reality from the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Right. Right. Right.
me and my lawyer will argue, and he would be like, why you think like that, and you just, because I would always tell him, like, listen, they're not gonna let me come home. He's like, why you
I
think like
mean, it
that?
don't happen
I'm
like
gonna win. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. I'm like, maybe you will win. I'm like, but you don't
that.
understand.
But I,
This is big. This is bigger than what you believe that this is. So I feel like myself and other individuals on my case, because we was known to actually be the first blood set on the East Coast, right? Especially in the state of New Jersey. So I felt like we were the poster child. And
right.
so
Like you wasn't gonna get off. That's what you thought. I got
because you
you. You
can't
got
you
me.
because you can't curb, right, what's to
Right.
come if you don't deal with what's in front of you. And we happen
Right.
to be what was in front of them. So I knew the
Yeah.
reality was going to be a harsh one, because they had to prove a point. They had to set an example, whether we were guilty or not guilty. It was
That was
about the
y'all.
example. Exactly. So it was about the example. And I'm not saying that I was just innocent of everything that I mean, I
No,
was
but it was
innocent
the
of
name. So who you
and there
hang
you,
with, who you
and
was
there
attached
you,
to.
and there you have it.
Like we be preaching.
We on the same page.
I'm following you. This is real shit. I love this.
Thank you.
No, I love this. So it's like, okay, so humbly, because you are very humble. Humbly speaking, do you feel like for real, this was not your life? That was not your life that you were so maybe, I mean, I don't know. I'm just reading into it too much, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like this was by chance. You beat the first one, you beat the second one, you said. Now this was the third.
Yeah.
Because in all actuality, you did 23, but hey, cool. But it's
Mm.
still you're out here. Less time. Your mind to me is together. Do you feel like that time really built you, or did it like it couldn't have broke you? So did it
Nah,
really build you?
you can't. You can't break what ain't meant to be broken, right? That's for one. Um, and I feel like in some senses I failed, but I also feel like in some areas I've succeeded, right?
Yeah,
Because the redemption story is real, right?
yeah,
And so we can make mistakes and we can still bounce back, right? We can
yes,
fall and
yes,
then we can still get up. You see what I'm
yeah.
saying? We could be hurt and we can still shake it off. And so, um, my
Ooh, let me
story
feel
happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen, right?
that.
I was supposed to, want to do good, ultimately end up doing bad, ultimately falling short, and then coming home and doing something positive. Because now I
Right.
showed the people that
Change
redemption is
is
possible. You change is
redemption.
possible, right? Evolution is real, right?
Yeah.
So again,
And you have
you
a choice in this world.
so you have to go to get to something. So I'm not mad at nobody for
Mhm.
the time that I had to do. I needed that, because if I don't do that, then the mass that you meet today is a whole nother mass.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
needed that to shake off the cobwebs and okay, cool, get your shit together. Let's figure this out. You're not no dummy. So let's work. And so
Just do it.
so I utilize my time to not only work on my body but to work on my mind, right? And it sounds cliche, but that was my reality. So I would read endless books, right, daily. Mads, what do you want to do when you get out? How do you want to figure this out? Because like I said, I wasn't doing things
Like that before you
intentionally,
went in.
but I wasn't doing things intentionally to be negative or to
No.
be anti-America or to be just like a badass. I was doing things to survive, right?
Right.
If you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do, right?
I went in Rome.
This has been around before you and I both have been alive, right? This is
Exactly. Exactly.
when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. So if I'm in a society, I'm in a community where you have to do X, Y, Z to survive, why would it make me wrong when I do X, Y, Z?
Dang. And y'all
But
ain't trying to put the rest of the alphabet with it. Like, come on.
but the people that's judging, they don't fall into the category of those who have to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And so we're
Because they
always
already had it together.
so we're gonna be thrown away regardless because their reality is not our reality. You see
Thank
what I'm
you.
saying? And they say thou shalt not judge. However,
We're being judged by the world every day. Every single day, just by being the color of that we are. So yeah.
there you go.
And you black men, period. Let me speak for that. And
We got it
the back
hard.
end of this whole
We got it hard.
this yeah.
We got it hard.
Yeah.
We could find our way. Let me speak to the black men out there. We could definitely find our way. You see what I'm saying? It ain't impossible. It's hard, right? But anything that's worth something is worth fighting for, right? And so we can shake back. I'm actually a living testimony, man. If you know where my life came from, even though, like I said, it wasn't easy, but I was a success story with the street life, right? And then I fell, I lost it all, and now I'm back home, and I don't feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. But to everyday society, they feel like I'm miles ahead of the average Joe that been out here. But
Yeah.
that's just a testament to the fact that if we believe, something can come up out of it.
Yeah. So what's like keeping you right now that you're home? I mean, I understand you got one foot in, one foot out, kind of. Are you working right now? Because I know you got into books while you were incarcerated, right?
Yes, I did.
You wrote too.
Mm-hmm. I wrote 2 books.
How did that come about?
Well, I never wanted to write a book, right? I just felt because like I said, the social media era, it wasn't a thing when I was on the streets.
No.
Everything was meant to be private. That's how we operated. And so it was actually so in 2008, the History Channel had they placed out a documentary, right? A brief documentary on gangland, on myself and guys from my environment, right? My community. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know about it. I didn't interview for it or nothing. They just took public information and put it on the History Channel.
Made a story.
And so, still in all, I ain't try to dispute it, refute it, or whatever, right? Because I stood up. So it really wasn't, from a streets perspective, it really wasn't nothing to combat. But as far as an identity assassination, right, with just upright citizens of America, they assassinated my character.
Right. Okay.
So I had a good friend of mine. He from my neighborhood. He went the right way. I was in lockup, and he wrote me like, "Man, listen, the streets want to hear from you. They ain't heard from you, whatever." And I'm like, "Nah, I ain't trying to write no book, man." You see what I'm saying? But I was actually on my way from this lockup spot to a lockup spot I would have been in for 2 years. So I'm like, damn, I'm gonna be locked down for 2 years. Lockdown is basically 23 hours locked down, 1 hour out.
Yeah, 1 hour out. Yeah.
I don't really have nothing else to do, right? So let me just start writing anyway. So I started to write, and it became therapeutic. I found reading therapeutic, and so
Yes.
writing started to become therapeutic. And I was
You
pushing
got
my
it
pen,
out.
and pushing my pen. And so as a result of that, my first book came out, um, America's Massacre, The Audacity of Despair and the Message of Hope. Right. So again, I'm showing people that yes, we have to hold America accountable with respect that to the despair in which they place us in. However, there's still hope,
Your
right?
mind is
And
deep.
that's the first book, right? And then my first book stopped on my first day in the federal system.
Okay.
And then my second book, which is America's Massacre, Survived the Mass Incarceration, which is
Okay.
actually a play on on my name because is I'm mass and I'm incarcerated, but also mass incarceration is a thing, right?
Is a
So
thing. I love this.
um, and so I wrote that book based on my first day in the federal system and all of the struggles and journeys that I had to take to make it to a lower custody
Right.
institution, because you have different levels of prison, right? You have camps, lows, mediums,
Right.
penitentiaries, supermaxes, and so to work yourself down, that stuff takes years and years and years, and it
That's
took
why
me
I'm proud of
years,
you.
to fight through, what I was going through to make it down to a lower custody. And so that's actually what the second book is about, just being able to be inside of a situation and not lose yourself mentally in the situation,
Right.
right? And still work on your freedom because his brothers is never coming home, right? Or
Yes.
at least they believe they're never coming home. But if you fight and you don't give up, then who knows what the outcome can truly be? Because I was somebody that thought I was never coming home, and I'm
Right.
here.
Man, that shit. I'm telling you, this stuff got to feel good, bro. I feel good for you, for real.
Thank you.
And I'm just proud that you was able to sit in there and not catch no more charges and not
Yeah,
do so
been through.
mentally,
I've
mentally.
been through. I've been through. Like it wasn't easy. I wasn't always a model inmate. I
Yeah.
went through. You know what I mean? I went
I
through my
imagine
shit.
23 years. I
You know,
imagine. I
um,
know it wasn't no cakewalk.
but at some point, whether we locked up on the streets, right? It has to become a thing where it's like enough is enough, right?
Mm.
If
So what
if
was
if
your enough?
you
What
know,
was your enough?
my kids coming to see me on visit. When I came to prison, I had two newborn kids. I had a newborn daughter, I had a newborn son. Um, and so watching them grow older as I
Ooh,
was in, right?
yeah.
And them traveling from state to state, my mother bringing my kids to come and see me from state to state, the struggles I know that she had to go through to bring them to come and see me, getting
Yeah.
one child from this mother, getting one child from this mother,
Man.
traveling 500, 600, 700 miles to come and see me. And it's like, my kids know me, but they don't know me, right?
Right.
Because when I left, they wasn't conscious enough to really identify who I was. And so to
Right.
watch my kids grow up, and it's like once they got to that age where they could actually talk and articulate themselves, it's like, all right, come on now. Like, what am I doing? You know,
Yeah.
um, because I was actually somebody who in my city and in my state, when they would do things with respects to like anti-gang violence and things like that, they had started to actually utilize my image.
Mm.
And so my kids found themselves being in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and
Right.
when the educational system believes that they're putting out anti-gang stuff,
Right.
I'm popping up on the screen, and now my kids are embarrassed because it's like, damn, well,
Right.
that's your father, or and so whenever you do something, if it becomes difficult to explain to somebody that you love, you shouldn't do it.
Oh wow. Oh, I felt that. I felt that.
And
I felt
so
that.
once that reality sets in, that's when it becomes enough is enough.
That's enough. Enough. That right there was awesome. It don't get no better than that answer right there. It don't get no better than that right there. At all period. Do you feel like all that time was it worth it? Was it really worth it
Um,
to
it
be away from
depends.
your kids like that? Because I understand. Hold on. I understand. You said when did you see them for the first time? Thanksgiving, your daughter, right?
Yes, in the flesh. I've seen it on the visiting floor, but like in the flesh on Thanksgiving of
Like
2020.
held her.
Yes. Um, it depends on what side of the coin you on, right? Because it's worth it because without what I went through, I wouldn't be who I am, right? So
Yeah.
in that aspect of it is worth it because I love who I am, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I appreciate my struggles. A life without struggle is no life at all. So I appreciate my struggles. I value my hardships. Now on the flip side, you know, when I'm thinking about my daughter, my son, my mother, my brother, my nephews, and close friends, was it worth it to leave them out here to fend and fight for themselves? Absolutely not. So it just depends on which side of the coin, wherever it
Yeah.
lands, is where it may. It's either head or tails. Wherever it lay is where it lay.
Do
So
you feel like the world moved on while you were gone? Do you feel like they moved on, or do you feel like you kind of moved with it? Because like for being away so long, like you said, I know we make jokes about it, but you're like, I don't know how to work this stuff. Like,
that's
but
real. That's
like
serious.
I'm
That's
saying,
it.
but do you feel like the world just moved on without you, or do you feel like I feel like you getting in the groove. Bro. We did this, we good progress.
I mean, time stops for no man.
You right.
Right? So let's get that clear. So a lot of the times we have a sense of entitlement where it's like, okay, well, we just locked up, so the world's supposed to stop for us, right?
No, oh, it don't. It go a
It's
lot
not,
faster for real.
and that's not realistic, right? So has the world moved on? Absolutely, right? I'm not mad
Right.
at nobody. A lot of things have advanced since my time. Um, but I actually enjoy getting into the swing of
Learning.
things. You know what I'm saying? Figuring things out. It's fun for me. Like it's intriguing for me. Because I'm somebody who's always trying to become more educated in whatever lane it is. And it just so happens that today everything is on your phone, everything is on your laptop.
You don't have
You
to
know,
come fly into a podcast. You can do it from home.
exactly. And you're younger than me, but in my day, we didn't have. If you had a computer, you was rich.
He was rich, Adele, the
That's how
desktop.
the streets seen you. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't no laptops. You flip the thing open. It was a regular box computer. Looked it like a
The little
TV. And if you had one of those in your house and you could actually cut it on, because people had them and you couldn't cut them on. But you cut that joint on
right,
and
it
that
looked like a little typewriter.
you was the best of the best. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, but yeah, the world moved on, and the world should move on. You see what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
who am I? Like
Right.
we not nobody special, with respects to the world, the way as though we just stopped time. If
Right.
because if we felt that way, we would have stayed outside.
Right.
So it's people have a sense of entitlement, whether it's with a girl or they, whoever, the way it's like, oh well, I'm in here, so if I'm in here, you in here. That ain't right, that ain't fair. You see what I'm saying? We created our circumstances,
Free.
our reality, and and we deal with it accordingly. You see what I'm saying? But however, right, the thing you did with your fingers, now I want you to do it now, right?
Clock it.
It's still a way, it's still a way to go about it, right? Even though the world doesn't stop, it's still a way to go about it and deal with somebody with a
Respectful.
level of respect, even though they're not around you. I was always taught that integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's watching, right? So if that's your guy, right? If that's your guy, okay, cool, and he catches a bunch of time, okay, cool, rightfully so. You don't have to stick around forever. That's cool. But how are you going to go about not sticking around forever? That's what changes the circumstances. You see what I'm saying? Are you going to go and
Right.
get with his homeboy? Are you going to, are you still going to, answer his calls when he, when he calls? These things are just the small, minuscule things that you can do to just be like, okay, cool, I'm still holding on. So I'm saying we aren't the same thing that
Right.
we used to be, or my life hasn't stopped because of yours, but what we had is what we continue to have today. It's just that I have something else in
Right.
accordance with that. And that's where the signals get crossed.
Right. That's where the signals get crossed. But also, I mean, people be playing their role while you in there too, and then you get home and
I told you, there's two sides to every coin. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, because it's this way on that side that every guy that's on the inside is doing the right thing neither. I'm not saying that. But it's some very good men that's
no,
in
I'm
there.
saying females, males, because women going to jail too. So I
Both
mean, if
sides.
I was to go to jail, I wouldn't expect my nigga to just.
But listen, you know why you shouldn't expect it? And you know why the man shouldn't expect it?
What?
Because expectation breeds disappointment, right? The thing is, we go into
Right. Because I'm
situations and
expecting
we
something.
expect somebody to be who we are, right? When there's only one you,
Right.
right? So it only could be one Pookie. It only could be one Mass. If you expect me to be you, ultimately, you're going to find yourself disappointed. Because I can't be you when you can't be
nobody.
me.
Exactly.
So, that's just a false reality that we have in our mental, right? However, loyalty is loyalty, right?
Right. And what is loyalty to you? Tell me that. What is your definition of loyalty?
I believe that loyalty is friendship defined, right? And friendship defined is two people coming together for a common cause, right? And what I mean by that is when two people come together for a common cause, right? They're loyal to one another because the mission is the goal, right? The mission becomes the goal. And so we're going to stay committed to one another because the mission is what we're after. See, I'm not after what's self-serving for myself. You're not after what's self-serving for you. The mission is what we're out for.
Right.
And so if you align yourself in terms with me for this particular mission, I'm going to be loyal to you. Right. So loyalty, again, defined is honesty, right? It's transparency.
That's off top. That's off top.
Right? It's commitment, right?
Yes.
It's selflessness, right? We live in a world today that's just so selfish, right? People are so individualized what they can get, how they can win, what they can benefit, and so
nothing's genuine anymore.
Yes, but a person preaches loyalty all day, but when you hear them talk, all they talk about is what they can gain. So yeah, you might be loyal, but who are you loyal to? You're only loyal to yourself. Right? And so this is why the world was created with other individuals, because we were meant to find a way to unite and create a circumstance of oneness. And so that's what loyalty is. Loyalty is being able to find somebody else, treat them how you would treat yourself, right? With no expectation involved, right? And still give up everything and put everything on the line because you selfless, because you want for them what you want for yourself. That's loyalty.
Man, boy, I think that's the end of the show right now. Boy, I got chills, man. I don't think I met a real nigga all year besides my nigga and my brothers. Like I'm serious.
We ain't been that long in the year. You might meet somebody next month. We only 3 months in the year, so you be all right. See what I'm saying? You probably meet somebody.
It's a good year already, though. Like I done met Mass.
I'm happy.
But I got the wisdom that I needed. You know what I'm saying? Like this is some good stuff because from somebody that just did not. I just want to say I'm proud of you, and I'm honored to be doing this interview. I just want to say that for real, because the stuff that you kicking, the jewels that you drop, we ain't getting this from nobody. You are somebody. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you are home, this is going on
6 months now.
6 months. I'm getting we going on. That's good. You can't say that for half of the people that come home and do something crazy after doing that much time. I can't live out here. I'll just go back to jail. No, you know what I'm saying? Being on this podcast, expressing your story, telling us your testimony is what you're telling. And I don't want this to be just one show. Like, can we keep it going?
I mean, you my sister, so whatever you need, I'm here.
For real, because I really want to get into the incarceration part and give it to the young boys with this violence part. It's a lot that we can touch on. That's why I said I really like the American Massacre. We're gonna make this a series. Can we do this every Thursday?
Whatever you need.
Would you?
I ain't gonna do the
because the people will look forward to
whatever you need, sis. I'm gonna say it again. Whatever you need, you call me. We tap in, and we make it happen. Again, it's about being selfless. That's loyalty, right?
That's loyalty. I'm sticking to my word. You sticking to yours. I love that for us. Shoot.
We tap in.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be it for tonight's show because we've been on here an hour. Your phone been going off and stuff. But listen. What is one message for tonight's Tap In Thursday that you could give the youth? Because there's so much that we gonna have to straighten them out. We trying to save them. And you're someone who made a difference.
The world is a cold place. The world don't owe you nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. You owe it to yourself. Despair is a harsh reality. Hardship is a harsh reality. However, at the end of the day, as long as you keep believing, you keep dreaming, success will come your way. But your tomorrow is a product of what you do in this day and in this time. So, always put your best foot forward and strive and, try your best to achieve, regardless of what obstacles come your way, and never take failure as an option. When as long as you do that, man, even if you fall, you could pick yourself back up and you can make something happen. So to all the young brothers and all the young sisters, to all the older brothers and all the young sisters, just don't give up and keep believing, and we'll win ultimately.
I like that. You said young sisters. We ain't never getting old. For real. So look. Next week we're going to talk about your America's Massacre AI, the AI movie that you've got.
Man, shout out my brother AI Blick. Now, come on now. Me
and Red Money is locked in like this. Red Money Blick.
Put that together for me for sure. That was all his work.
I'm serious, but I mean, we gonna get into that. That's a whole episode within itself. That's what I'm talking about. I want to break this all the way down because I love how this is going. I do.
Whatever you need.
And I know that the people really need to, they need this right here. The real niggas need this right here, for real. So I love him, and I thank you for being a part of this, for real.
Thank
man,
you,
y'all, that's our show for tonight. I ain't gonna keep you too long because it sounds like you're a busy man. So I love you, bro. Good night.
I love you too. Be good.
All right.